Hello, welcome back my way today. You must have been wondering why Bitcoin fell so hard around 2021, 2022, and beginning to rise around 2023. Here is the reason why. I'm going to take us through this whole stuff. It's very simple, and I wish you've known it earlier, even before now. So let's check. This from I'm going to take in my we are going to be taking this journey from 3 months time frame. Now the first thing I want to draw our attention to here is this area here. This area here, the first place I want to be drawing our attention to is this area here. This area. We could say that an old high was broken through with price. An old high was broken through. And then what did you see? You begin to see a very long wick. Very, very long wick. So what is this saying to you? That is stop hunt. So BTC has risen to a very high peak around 2022, very high peak, and then what happened to it? Price returned to that place. It was looking as though it was aiming for 70,000 US dollars, but all of a sudden price began to recede, to drive lower. And just so you can see that you can see that these are the parameters that controls price. You can see BTC here when it retraces into this fair value gap here. Let me show us without the drawings. So BTC, when it entered into this fair value gap, which is called buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, we could see that it began to. So what is it saying to us is that price seek liquidity, and then it also seek to fill voids, imbalances, such as is seen on this chart here. Very, very important. So with this calibration of sites given to us now, that ICT has been saying for a very long time, we would actually see that these things are actually true. Look at it. Buy side liquidity taking, and then it ran into sell side, a fair value gap, buy side imbalance, sell side liquidity. So we can see that after it had sufficiently filled this imbalance up, it began to rally higher and then to take out this old high that was formed, even with a much more, greater impulsive candle here. So let's go on to see what happened next on the 1 month time frame, on the weekly time frame, daily time frame, and see how much opportunity you have missed from all of these things. So let's go on. After the stop hunt on the daily, on the 3 month time frame, let's check what happened here, and then we'll see how price began to rise up from here and things like that, with all what I've been saying all this while anyway. So let me quickly show us some things here. We could see a stop hunt here, and then this fair value gap. what I just highlighted here, this area is the high of the fair value gap, this is the midpoint, and then this is the low of the fair value gap. So price entered through the high, came to the low of it, to the midpoint of the fair value gap, and then begin to react upwards. So we are going to be checking this area on the 1 month time frame, and we are going to be checking this area on the 1 month time frame to see how price began to lose value from here and then begin to gain value from here. So let's go into 1 month time frame. So here, what can we see? This was our old high. This is our old high. This was our old high. I wrote stop on, buy stop, buy side liquidity. After price had taken it, that liquidity was first taken in the month of October 2021. The month of November, price still dashed into it, entered, making sure it took more of it. And then from then onward, from November, December, we begin to see that 2021, November, December 2021, price begin to grow lower, begin to see weaker prices. People began to panic. Those that have invested money in it begin to panic, They thought they've lost it all, and trust me, they couldn't do anything to save themselves. Price just needed to fill up an imbalance. And anybody standing in the way of market here maybe has accumulated BTC. We just discovered that the investment is running low. But if you know this information earlier, you wouldn't have sold your BTC, you would have held it. You would have held it and then trust that it's going to come back higher, just as we are seeing here. But all of these movements took almost like 4 or 5 years now, maybe 3 to 4 years now. So price, in fact, the trading of October, November, December also created the fair value gap. So it took the trading of February and trading of March to balance up or to enter into that imbalance and then continue the journey lower. Now we could see the trading of April 2022, May and June also forming the fair value gap that we didn't see price enter immediately. But in the lower time frame, you see that price actually had balanced up things on the weekly time frame. So much so good that price did not need to come back here on the monthly time frame. So I will show us that going forward. So price still drive lower into that 3 month fair value gap, and this was the midpoint. This long line here indicates the midpoint of the monthly fair value gap. And ICT has said the sensitive part, one of the sensitive parts of the fair value gap is the midpoint. And we expect reaction of price around the midpoint of the fair value gap. And at the midpoint, you begin to see that price begin to gain some momentum. So price entered that midpoint around November 2022. December 2022, you spent the whole month there. But January 2023, what happened? You begin to see that Bitcoin begin to gain value again. So the first thing we begin to see on the monthly time frame that gave us an insight that BTC was going to rise beyond the shadows of doubt and all of these things was this large impulsive move that happened around January 2023. That move took out this high here. That would have signaled to everyone who knew ICT concepts as a break of market structure. and then there was a formation of a fair value gap. Look at it from December 2022 high and February 2023 low. We could see that there was a gap that between these three candles, December, January, February, there was a gap in trading. This high here, this December 2022 high was supposed to be touching the low of February 2023 low. The low of February 2023. But that did not happen. So it was necessary for price to enter into it to fill up the imbalance before traveling higher. We could also see the same thing here. The same thing was happening here. These two places. Price retraced into it. And what happened? Begin to blow higher again. So this is showing us the usefulness, the importance of fair value gaps. They are very, very important in your journey of trading. Those are the things price return to before they move either higher or lower, and you want to be mindful of them. So the first place we saw here, this is a monthly fair value gap. The price retraced into, and then it broke market structure, and that's why we want to take it seriously. And then you form a fair value gap, price return into it, begin to rally higher. You can see the extent it has gone now. Are we seeing it? Very, very important. So fair value gaps, old highs, old lows, these are the things you want to be looking out for higher time frame, because these are reference points that market uses to move, which are things that cause movement in the market if you understand it. And knowing it to be will afford you the opportunity to be able to make informed decision on them, just as I'm showing us here. Now we'll move on to the weekly time frame so that we can see some other things that will help us, and it will help you in your investment property. Is it property now? How will I say it? So let's go on. Let's go to weekly time frame now to see other things, as you can see here. Now the weekly time frame. Here we are. This was the monthly fair value gap, the high and the low. And what can we see here? After this last lower high was broken through by price here, we actually saw again that this fair value gap into this monthly fair value gap, there was this fair value gap formed before it hit this monthly fair value gap. It was invalidated by this strong bullish move, broke market structure here, and we could of course see that price retraced into this inversion fair value gap and also into this buy side imbalance, sell side liquidity and sell side inefficiency. So we could of course see that price retrace into it and then begin to bust higher. So if you had known this concept earlier, you would have known that, and you have known that the invalidation of fair value gaps and old highs and old low will cause market to move higher. I'm sure you would have done something better with this information. Can you see on the weekly chart, price broke this recent close by fair value gap, making it an inversion fair value gap. Also took out this important high and then retraced into the inversion fair value gap and this fair value gap, and we can see of course that price began to move higher. Price after impulsive move, there will surely be a retracement. You should expect this in the market. So after this impulsive move, it was necessary for price to fill up this imbalance. It was necessary. So that's why you saw that price re-entered into this imbalance on a weekly chart before it began to what? Go higher. We can see also that here price, it was necessary for price to enter into this imbalance also before what? Going higher. You can see, of course. You can see. So at different occasions, you want to be taking note of imbalance, nearest imbalances that price could retrace to before moving higher. Now let's check this market on daily time frame. And let's see what we can glean from there. So on daily time frame, this was it. I mean, this is it. This is daily time frame, yeah. So this was the area of the daily inversion fair value gap. And then before the inversion fair value gap would have occurred, before this large expansive movement, let's see what we can check. Now on the daily time frame, there was a stop point which led to this impulsive movement. There was this fair value gap here, price entered into it, and then this large movement, this large blast continue higher before price begin to retrace into this inversion, into this fair value gap here, and so on and so forth. So you want to capitalize on this information I'm giving here, begin to become sensitive to fair value gap. They are very important, and it will help you in your trade journey. To 4 hours. So what can we see here in the 4 hours time frame? Something that we can trade with. So on the 4 hours, around the monthly, the 3 month fair value gap that we saw, we could see on the 4 hours here that there was a stop point. After a stop point, a fair value gap, that is a buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency, was invalidated, and then price retraced into it. There was a stop point here. After stop point, what happened? This fair value gap was invalidated by this bullish price action. After then, we saw that price returned into it, and then from there also, you can be tracing these things over and over again. You'll just be seeing a cascade of it. One will just be activating the other, and then you can ride it if you have learned how to see it. Now look at another one. After price had entered into the inversion fair value gap on the 4 hours, it also invalidated another inversion fair value gap. Another fair value gap here, forming an inversion fair value gap. Can you see this? So price did what? Entered into this inversion here, took out this old low. Can you see that? This recent fair value gap that was here, what happened to it? Price break it through, entered into it again. Can you see this concept? That is very, very important. You master it, you know it. So I'm committed to bringing this kind of stuff to your, to your hearing, so that you could see and understand it. So price entered into it again. What happened? You can see that price began to what? To blow higher, to move higher. Very, very important. Very, very important. And today, you can see that Bitcoin, Jesus, has moved a lot of pips. A lot of pips. So it will help you in your, this is not a trade advice, but it will help you make informed decision with this concept I'm showing you. You can as well go into the chart to see these things for yourself, and then be able to build up a particular model, a particular, ways by which you can see price and then try to make good use of it. So just feed your eyes with this nice setup. It's not about the how good I can draw it here, but I want you to just take a look at it, and then it will help your decision making. Not a trade advice anyway, but a decision making process. These things works very well, and if you know how to use them, you will have less loss trading any market asset. You want to trust me on this. So this is how much I can go, and I hope you've gotten value from this presentation. Till I come your way next time. And before then, I want to just show you this also, that it was necessary that price came into this fair value gap before moving higher. It hit the higher fair value gap, the inversion fair value gap, and what reject lower. You can see it reject lower, just to show us that these things, this fair value gap, they really influence price. There are levels in which market makers wait to execute their orders. So you can't just be deaf to it or blind to it. You want to utilize it for your profiting. Very, very important. So much value here. If you are able to take them, see you next time. Bye for now.